man said he was on to me, that even though he didn't know exactly how, that I had to be doing something fishy, that he just simply couldn't believe that there was any way for a person to win the lottery 5 times in 3 months, period, let alone from his single store. I tried to tell him that I wasn't doing anything illegal at all, or cheating, or breaking any rules, that I just had a simple system that I was using, and that it happened to work really incredibly well. Heck, I even offered to share it with him, but the angry man just wouldn't listen. And I was afraid that I was about to die. And I shuddered to think of what would have happened if a group of teenagers hadn't come into the store right then, forcing the raving mad business owner to quickly put away his 44 caliber. But as soon as they did, I ran for my life, making it to my car and burning rubbers. I peeled out of the parking lot and towards the safety of my home. Until that night, I've been on such a high. I mean, I'd won more than $324,000 in the last 4 months just by playing the lotto and using a deceptively simple system I'd created to predict winners. I'd settled all of my debts, some of which had been haunting me for years. I'd taken my family to Disney World for 2 weeks, where we stayed in the royalty suite and really did live like kings. I've been able to buy my 2 sons all the clothing they've been wanting for years, new basketball shoes, top of the line bikes, everything. I'd even just closed on the house of my dreams, a 2-story brick home in a beautiful, quiet neighborhood in the best school district in the entire company. But having that gun pointed to my head sure snapped me back to reality in a hurry. I realized that if I was going to keep using this breakthrough system that I created and keep building long-term wealth by putting more and more money in the bank with it, then I'd need to start being a lot more careful. Because here's the truth. Once you know how to crack the lotto code, which is what I want to share with you in the short video, there's going to be a lot of people who aren't happy about it. As you hold winner after winner for months at a time, you'll have to start rotating the convenience stores where you buy your tickets, because the owners hate having to pay out cash in the registers. And even when you win the larger prizes, $4,000, $14,000, maybe $140,000 or so, these store owners and managers still won't be happy. They become afraid that the state will start investigating them and trying to figure out what makes their store so special. That's the thing, though. It has nothing to do with their store and everything to do with how you're picking the numbers. That's the secret to how I've managed to win the lotto 5 times in the last 3 months and 14 times in the last 2 years. These winners weren't all major jackpots, by the way. Some of the tickets were just for $8,000 or $14,000. Not enough to make you rich, but certainly enough to make your life a whole heck of a lot better. And it's the same secret that a small handful of other lucky people have used to do the same thing once I shared it with them. People like Remy P., Virginia Beach, Virginia, who recently wrote me saying, Everett, I'm just writing this quick note to thank you for changing my life. This month, I've already hit the lotto 3 times for $13,200, $120,182, and $38,492, respectively. Some months aren't quite as crazy as this, but regardless, I've been averaging around $22,000 per month, and it's all thanks to your system. And speaking of your system, I still just can't believe how easy it is to use. Even a toddler could use it. I'm glad you're not going to share this info with too many people, because if you did, I think the lottery would go out of business. And Ricky W. of Palm Beach, Florida, who says, I can't believe it. 5 wins of $5,000 per more over the last 3 months. If you told me a few months ago that I'd be winning like this, I would have said you were crazy. But your formula is so easy to use and it's so insanely accurate. Now I know that me and my family will be financially set for life. P.S. Attached are some pictures of me holding checks for my most recent winners so you can see my success with your own eyes. And Dennis R. of Redlands, California, who says, when a friend of mine shared your website with me, I thought he was nuts. There's no system to beat the lottery, I told him. You're crazy. But after watching him hit his 3rd jackpot in 6 months for a total of more than $1,242,000 in winnings, I started to think maybe he wasn't so crazy after all. So I gave this a try, and my God, I'm happy I did. I just hit my first jackpot for $124,000, and it's only been about 29 days. I can't wait to keep winning. Now, as a professionally trained statistician, if you had asked me just 3 years ago if there was some secret to winning the lottery multiple times, or to actually knowing in advance what the winning numbers were going to be, I I would have probably laughed in your face and called you a fool. I mean, I did know that on some level that all games had to be beatable because they'd been designed by humans, and therefore it was impossible for them to be flawless. But if winning the lottery not just once, but even multiple times was so easy, then we'd all be millionaires, right? Fat chance of that, I thought. And until just a few years ago, I'd never even bought a lottery ticket in my life. But all that changed in October of 2011. The Powerball jackpots had just hit $324 million. And as the night of the drawing arrived, it seemed like all anyone was talking about in the news or at work. Now, my job had some stability, but it didn't really pay much. And I was also carrying a lot of debt on my shoulders, something that constantly seemed to be weighing my family down, just holding us back from getting ahead in life. I always did feel like I was always just scraping by. I was certainly never in a position to buy or even drive a fancy sports car, or to live in a nice home where I felt like my family could be both comfortable and safe. A lot of months, I wasn't even really sure about where the money would come from to pay for my kids' school supplies, or to put 3 healthy meals on the table. My wife was working 2 jobs and was making her exhausted. She swears even causing her to age faster than normal. I mean, we weren't desperately poor, but we were struggling. And of course, like so many other Americans, I was tired of it. So I decided, what the heck? I went and I spent $20 at the local convenience store to buy 10 tickets. Well, you're gonna laugh, but out of the 10 tickets I bought, I picked a total of one number correctly. There goes $20 down the drain, I thought, as I watched the news people interviewing the woman who had won. An elderly lady from Central Florida, sobbing with joy and talking about all the wonderful things that she planned to do with her newfound riches. After that, it was back to the grind, working hard for not enough money, rarely seeing my wife because of her 2 part-time jobs, trying to give my kids a normal life, even though their mom and dad were either always at work or exhausted. But even though I hadn't won, there was something that kept nagging at me. Why is it that there are a small handful of people who have won the lottery multiple times, while the rest of us seem to never ever win? I mean, I don't know about you, but it seemed like I was always hearing stories about these incredibly lucky people who'd hit their second, third, fourth, even seventh ticket. The headlines were everywhere. The Texas Lottery never investigated Joan Ginther, who won $5.4 million in a 1993 Lotto Texas drawing. Then hit it big in 3 scratch-off games. $2 million in Holiday Millionaire in 2006, $4 million in Millions and Millions in 2008, and $10 million in the $140 million Extreme Payoff. Lucky Air Dry Man wins lotto fight for $17 million. Court orders Western Canada Lottery Corp to pay multiple winner. Wins $1 million, $100,000, $57,000, and $1.3 million. Northwest Territories woman wins lotto millions for second time, more than $7 million richer after her second lottery winner in 4 years. Guy wins $3 million. Last year, packpot of $10 million. Play 4 champ, 568 winners in 15 months. Panama City Beach Man defies the odds, wins Florida Lotto twice in 6 months. Lucky Carthage Man becomes instant millionaire again. And it seemed kind of weird to me that this was going on, that there was just this tiny group of people in this country who were just really, really lucky. I looked at the probability of all this, by the way, and I saw that for any pick six type of game, the odds of winning were around 1 in 13 million. Obviously, those aren't great odds, but they just made me even more curious about what these multiple winners were doing that I wasn't. I mean, did they have some sort of lotto winning secret? Did they know something the rest of us didn't? I just had to know. It was causing me to lose sleep at night, and so over the next 6 months, I did something pretty crazy. I did some detective work, and I found out their phone numbers. Then I started picking up the phone and giving them a call. At first, a lot of these folks were pretty guarded. After all, once you've won hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in the lottery, a lot of people want to be your friend. But they may not all have the best of intentions. That's actually something you're going to need to remember, because after I show you how my winning number system works, and you start winning a pretty good sized payout pretty much every month, 5 grand or so here, 14 or so grand there, and so on, you're going to have a lot of friends, family, neighbors, even complete strangers trying to ask you for money, especially if you're not careful and don't keep a low profile. So please, make sure you're smart about your winnings. Well, anyway, it turned out that most of these multi-time winners were actually pretty good folks. And after I explained to them who I was and that I was just curious because I was a mathematician, but that I wasn't after their newly earned wealth, Most of them had no problem spilling the beans and letting me write down what their secret was. It was really interesting. Of the 30 different multi-winners I talked to, 27 of them had a personal formula or a method that they swore was the key to hitting 4, 5, even 6 numbers on a draw again and again. What was also really fascinating was that while none of these folks were using the exact same method, the more I looked at my notes and studied each formula or system that they'd given me, the more I started to realize that they all shared some important similarities. Well, being a statistician and a total math nut, I began crunching numbers like you wouldn't believe. I took their different formulas, played around with them, combining the key elements of each, and adding a few additional principles of probability that I knew should increase the chances of predicting a winner even more. I became obsessed with reviewing the winning draws for all of the different major lotteries each night to see if the formula that I was slaving over was showing any promise. For a good long while, about a year total, let's say, I didn't have anything to show for my hard work. And then it happened. I was on the 127th variation of the formula, and I just used it to try to predict the winning numbers for the most recent Fantasy 5 drawing. As usual, I went online to check what the real winning numbers were, but what I saw made my heart stop. The system I'd been working on had accurately predicted every single number, all 5 of them. Well, at first, I was actually really mad. If I'd bought a ticket using my numbers, I would have won $229,881. That sucked, and I started kicking myself for being stupid. Until I realized something. The formula that I'd been creating and perfecting for nearly 2 years seemed to have worked. Of course, it could have been a fluke, so I had to keep testing it. But you better believe I didn't just watch from the sidelines anymore. Instead, I took about $40 and I bought tickets for several different popular games. Things like Mega Millions, Powerball, Fantasy 5, etc. And sure enough, 4 days later, bam, there it was. I was holding a $5,200 winner right in my hand. And another 10 days after that, bam, there it was again. I hit 4 numbers and the Powerball for a prize of $10,000. And another 20 days after that, I really hit big time when I nailed another Fantasy 5 ticket worth just under $200,000. Fortunately, I actually bought the ticket this time. It was incredible. I couldn't believe what was happening, and it didn't seem real until I drove down to the state lottery office, collected my checks, and put them in the bank. You probably don't have to be told how good that felt to suddenly not have to worry about money anymore, to be able to pay off your debts, to buy an Escalade for your wife, a Porsche for yourself, or a BMW for your kid. Really, any car you've ever wanted. To see the looks in the guys at the dealership's face when they ask to run a credit check on you, and you say, no, I'll just go ahead and pay cash. Or to become a hero to your whole family, to suddenly make more in a few months of playing the lotto than you've earned in the last 10 years of working 40, 60, even 80 hours a week. Well, over the next few months, I kept using my formula, and I won 2 more times. No, I wasn't making millions upon millions of dollars, but I was hitting prizes worth anywhere from a few thousand to a few $100,000. And that was okay with me. The lotto officer started to look at me really funny as I made the trip to see them every few weeks. I think they were half amused and half concerned, but they couldn't do anything about it. They knew, just like you do, that it's impossible to cheat on the lottery, and I wasn't doing anything unethical or wrong. I'd simply taken the common elements in each of the 27 multi-time winners' formulas, studied what seemed to be so special about them, modified them using some additional probability theory, and turned them into a plug-and-play lottery winning system. I've nicknamed it the Lotto Crusher system. You'll finally start winning the lotteries and be able to achieve whatever you want in life. It's something that anyone can do, even if you have trouble with basic math. It doesn't matter because it's so easy. You simply track the winning numbers for your favorite games, plug them into my little formula, and find out what numbers have the highest probability of winning the next time there's a draw. That's exactly what Lenny S. of Scranton, Ohio did. Success, Everett. This is so amazing. Even though this is my 3rd time winning this month, I still get shocked by how easily your formula is to use. Seriously, you're not lying when you say it does all the work for you. I just pop the winning numbers in using the formula you share, and it gives me winners. And Jeremy W. of Austin, Texas, who says, check out this picture I've attached. Like it? That's my new SUV. Oh, and see the one next to it, the Porsche? That one's for my wife. She likes to call it her new toy. But anyways, I'm just sending these pictures because your Lotto Crusher system is the thing that made this all possible. When I hit $750,000 in the Powerball 2 months ago using your formula, my life changed forever. The fact that I keep winning, well, now it's just getting absurd. Thank you 8,000 times for telling others about this. Now, it's important that you do understand that you're not going to win every time. You also may not win the Powerball jackpot next week. Sorry, but that's just realistic. But if you're okay with winning $5,200, $12,800, $30,000 or so on the tickets that you buy on a pretty regular basis, and also occasionally hitting a smaller size jackpot that's worth between $240,000 and $2 million or so, and doing it over the course of about 3 to 6 months, then the Lotto Crusher system I've created will work brilliantly for you. Okay, so you're probably pretty anxious to know how my secret formula works, and I'll give you all the details right now. 1. Start writing down the previous winning numbers for each of the games that you want to play. I personally recommend that you get a fresh legal pad that you use exclusively for this purpose. If you don't already have one, you can grab one at Walmart or Dollar General for less than $1. 2. Once you have the winning numbers for at least 7 of the previous draws, you can look these up online in a couple of minutes. You plug them into your simple formula I teach you inside the Lotto Crusher system. This formula, it's based on tons of complex math, but I've just done all the hard work for you so that you just basically need to add and divide a few numbers. Use a calculator if you want, but even most 8-year-olds will be able to do this mentally without any problems. 3. Go buy your tickets based on the winning numbers my formula gives you. Virtually every single lottery game in the world is based on the same mathematical principles, which means the formula you'll be getting works for all of them. So play as many games as you want, but don't spend more than $20 or $30 because there's really just no reason to. 4. You may find that you've won only a small prize of a few $1,000s or so the first time, or you may not win the first time at all. Either way, don't get discouraged. The numbers don't lie, and it's only a short matter of time until you're gonna hit. 5. As a rule of good thumb, you should target winning once or twice a month for a payout of around $20,000. Some months you may only win $10,000, and other months you may hit a bunch of winners or a jackpot and find yourself cashing a check for $200,000. Winning a jackpot is an incredible feeling, but I think it's important to set realistic expectations, which is why I say to shoot for $20,000 or so per month. 6. Keep repeating for as long as you want. This can become your full-time job if you wanted to, and you'll be amazed at the long-term consistency. All lotto games in the world have the same principles, so this will always work for you, even if a particular game gets retired or a new one hits the streets. And that's really it. Although, like I mentioned before, I do recommend that you try and keep a low profile. Go to different convenience stores so you don't anger the owner and get a gun pulled on you like I did. It's probably also a good idea to hire a financial planner and an accountant after your first few wins. While sometimes they can sort of be the fun police, they'll also make sure that you're investing your hundreds of thousands or millions smartly so that you can turn the cash you win into even more money. Oh, right, and also, you might want to donate some of the money that you make to charity or a good cause. Not at first, because you'd probably be more focused on making lump cash payments to settle any debts that you might have, or buying your new house, or getting your spouse a new Lexus, or taking your kids on vacation. But once you've won your 6th, 7th, 10th, heck, even 50th time over a couple-year period, I just think it's important to not get greedy and to give a little back to some deserving charity. One of the most important lessons I learned after being pretty wealthy now is to give back and help those people who are less fortunate. After you reach a certain amount in the bank and you have everything you desire, the money in the bank amounts will just be a number. Trust me, giving back will provide more satisfaction than having all the money in the world. Alright, so by now you're probably wondering how you can get your hands on the Lotto Crusher system. Well, I've had a lot of friends and family ask me that exact same question, and for a while I was debating what the best way to share this information would be. Ultimately, what I decided to do was take my formula, along with some other important tips and pieces of inside info I've gathered over the years, and put them into an online guide that folks could read and download right from their computers, tablets, or smartphones, or even print copies of. I think that by giving you the access to the same formula I've used to hit several pretty major winning tickets over the past 3 years, it can sort of be my version of giving back, which, as I just mentioned, is pretty important to me. Plus, I remember how awful it is to feel like you're financially struggling, like you're always getting hammered with bills, like there's just always some unexpected expense popping up that makes you go, where are we going to find the money for this? I'm not saying that's you because truthfully I don't know, but what I am saying is I remember how much it hurt to always be saying no to my children. They tried to put a $4.50 box of name brand cereal into the car while we were grocery shopping. Or they bought a $9 action figure up to the checkout line. And I simply couldn't risk buying it for them and not being able to pay our electric bill. And I love the feeling of financial security I now experience on a daily basis. I love that new car smell that all of my luxury vehicles have. And I love that each of my children's college funds now has about 65 grand in them. Cash that's completely safe and that will provide them with an incredible head start for the rest of their lives. The Lotto Crusher system is only available here on this website. And I can't let too many people know it exists because while I do want to give back, if everyone had access to this incredibly simple but proven formula, well, it could seriously shut down the whole lottery system in the US, and then none of us could win. Up until now, I've had it priced here for $250. That may sound like a lot, but if you're winning even just $4,000 in your first month, which is less than pretty much everyone else who has used the system has won, then you can see why $250 is a pretty small investment. But like I said, I had priced it at $250. That was in the beginning. But today, I'm going to do something a little bit crazy. You see, I'm limiting the number of copies of the Lotto Crusher system to 175 total. After that, this website goes down and no one else can get it because, like I mentioned before, we can't have too many winners here. Well, 124 people have already gotten their hands on this guide, accessed it immediately online, and used it to win anywhere from tens of thousands to even a couple of $1 million in the past 6 months. I'm starting to get nervous that the lottery corporations are going to come after me for sharing this with people, even though it's 100% legal and doesn't do anything wrong, which is why I've decided to slash the price of the Lotto Crusher system even more so that you don't have to pay even $250 or $150 for instant access to the life-changing information that's inside, and make it available to you today for just $97. You can get it now by clicking the Add to Cart button that you see below the screen right here. But if you do want to crush the lottery and start winning on a full-time basis, it really is important that you act right now. A lot of hard-working and deserving people without much money have been begging me for months to give away my system like I'm doing right now. And I can promise you that these final 51 copies are going to go fast. And that's good for me because the sooner we reach 175, the sooner I can take this down and protect myself. But it means that you do need to make a decision right now. All right, one final thing I should probably tell you. Over the last 6 months, as I've been talking to some of the 300 people who are using the Lotto Crusher system to make a six-figure income off about $30 or $40 per week in tickets, they've been telling me that there are some other websites on the internet that also talk about winning the lottery. It's pretty despicable, but they've been saying that a lot of these sites are run by people who have no idea what they're talking about. Well, you read my story. You saw my proof with your own eyes that the results I've gotten are 100% real, and that the repeat winnings of the people I've helped so far are also 100% real. But because I know trust is big, I'm also going to go one step further and offer you a 100% money-back guarantee that's good for a full 60 days. Here's how it works. You simply click the Add to Cart button that you see below this presentation now. Once you do that and enter your information via the secure checkout page I've set up, you'll be taken to a special members-only area where you get instant access to the Lotto Crusher system. You can view the tips, the advice, and of course, the winning predictive formula right from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. You can download it, you can print it out, whatever you choose. And then, just follow the steps that I tell you to inside. Try out the system for a full 60 days with absolutely no risk. I already know that you're going to get some big wins here, but I also know that seeing is believing, which is why I want you to experience the magic of holding winner after winner for yourself. So, if for any reason you're not happy with the decision over the next 2 months, or if you only average $6,000 per month and you wanted to be making more, simply send an email to the address that I'll give you inside the members-only area, and I'll immediately refund your $97 with absolutely zero questions asked. So really, what do you have to lose? You're basically just saying maybe to a lottery prediction system that's already helped 124 other people just like you to make an average of 6 figures in the last 6 months. And if you change your mind, that's completely fine. No skin off my back, and you get your investment returned immediately. I don't think that's going to happen though, because the Lotto Crusher system has been proven to work again and again and again. It takes the best elements of some of the most successful repeat Lotto winner systems and combines them into a formula that's more powerful than any one of those systems alone. So go ahead, try it out for yourself now by clicking the Add to Cart button right below. But remember, there are only 53 copies of this left, and once we hit that magic number of 175, this website goes down for good. Ultimately, the choice is yours, but can you really see any reason to not change your life today? If not, then go ahead and make your move now, and you'll have access to the entire system in about 2 minutes from now. It's that easy to live a life of wealth and happiness. Everett Thompson, Zephyr Hills, Florida. Are you still here? That's okay. I understand you may still have some questions, and I'll do my best to answer them right here so that you can feel 100% comfortable with your small investment today. 1. Isn't the lottery completely random? No, and that's the thing that a lot of people get confused by. The lottery isn't completely random. Instead, it's a game designed by humans, which means that ultimately it has to be beatable. That's why you actually hear about people finding flaws in the lotto and making a fortune as a result. A few years ago, a group of MIT students did just that and won about $8 million. They got in trouble, but they weren't even doing anything wrong. They just found a mistake. There are actually a lot of stories like that, but it's important to remember that what I'm showing you is completely legal and ethical and not cheating. It might feel kind of weird when you win so often, but you're not doing anything wrong. 2. How did you come up with the Lotto Crusher system again? What I did was I studied 27 of the secret formulas from repeat lotto winners. I analyzed each one of these formulas and realized that they all shared some common things. So then, I took the common elements of each of these 27 systems, combined them with some advanced statistical probability theory, and created my own formula. It took me more than a year to perfect this, and I actually tried 126 different variations before I finally found the one that works. 3. How do I use the Lotto Crusher system to win the lottery multiple times? Well, first you track the winning numbers for the games that you love to play. These can be found online, so you can get a good sample size pretty quickly. Then, you enter these numbers into the formula that you get, the Lotto Crusher system, and it predicts a new set of winning numbers. You're not going to win the lotto every time, but this is all about probability theory. By using this formula, you increase your chances of winning from unlikely to extremely high. How much money can I expect to win using the Lotto Crusher system? I like to tell people to expect an average of about $20,000 per month. There are some months where you don't win that much and other months where you'll win a lot more. Generally, you'll be targeting about 2 decent-sized wins per month. One thing that's nice about this system is that you generally don't just get 1 or 2 numbers right. It predicts between 4 and 6. That means the prizes you'll win tend to be a lot higher than just a few $100s. What are the terms of the guarantee again? Now, that one's pretty simple. You get the Lotto Crusher system for yourself right now by hitting the Add to Cart button below that you see at the bottom of the screen. Then, use the system for a full 2 months and see just how much money it will make you. If, for any reason, you change your mind, just send me an email and I'll instantly refund your investment with no questions asked. You have a full 2 months to do that. 6. How long will I be able to get your system for? Not very long. Like I said below, I've limited the number of people who can access this to 175. At the time of this recording, 124 people have already taken advantage and got Lotto Crusher for themselves, and generally 5 to 10 more people get it each day, now that it's at such an insanely reduced price. 7. How do I get the Lotto Crusher system? Simple. Click the Add to Cart button that you see below. You'll then have instant access to my guide, my formula, my winning tips, everything you need to start hitting big tickets for big payouts. It's that simple.